somewhere in the late 90s into the early 2000s. That's when the war started. I mean, cartels had already have had a presence in the area, but the whole violence in the street aspect of it, and your friends going missing, and the danger being really close, and kind of this normalization of the fact that you go to school in high school and four of your friends just don't go to school, and they nobody knows where they are, and they're male and they're military aged, and it seems like they went to work for some of these groups and now they're gone. That started happening when I was in high school. Um, Slowly but surely, kind of this creeping thing started getting into society. Your friends started carrying. Some of them started carrying guns. The cops wouldn't stop certain people anymore. Um, and there was like it was known, certain people own Tijuana, and it's not the police and it's not the government. It was the Ariano Felix cartel back then, and later on it was not clear exactly who was in control because they were all fighting for the largest drug route on the planet, the richest one, which is the one that goes right into San Diego.
Man, did so right around that time, I think is late 90s, maybe even 2000, but right around that time is when the military said no more service members going down to Tijuana, because every weekend and some weeknights, you have Camp Pendleton, obviously the huge Navy base in San Diego, and people
Yeah.
would just head down, park in that parking lot right on the border, and then walk across to Tijuana, have that night, and then stumble back in the morning back to work. And that was kind of like a normal thing for people in the Navy and in the Marines in San Diego area in the 70s and 80s and
Yeah.
into the 90s. But then it stopped in the late 90s. So right about, it kind of corresponds to
Yeah.
that time when you say things really picked up there. What led to that? What led to that change in the late 90s, early 2000s?
There was this peace among cartels in a lot the big parts of Mexico, and some of that peace was broken. Factions to the Sinaloa cartel and the Sinaloa cartel, if you look at it historically, it's basically a federation of smaller cartels. One of the factions of that cartel basically got into some issues with the Ariano Fiat cartel, which led into a blood war, basically. A bunch of assassination attempts on El Chapo Guzman. One of them led to the murder of a high-ranking cardinal in Mexico at an airport, who supposedly was mistaken for El Chapo Guzman by some of these hitmen. But basically, what happened is that this historically controlled area by one family, one cartel, the Ariano Fields cartel, started getting attacked and fragmented. And just like you see in other criminal enterprises and even terrorist networks out there in the world, you cut one head and it turns into several. What happened in Tijuana was that there was an attempt by certain factions of the Sinaloa cartel to take it over. And this has led to an ongoing war that we're still seeing right now, with factions trying to hold control over the border wall and specifically sales in Tijuana. So, if people want to consider this, a lot of Americans living in San Diego will come down to Tijuana to buy their drugs.
Mm,
It's cheaper and it's not safer, but it's cheaper.
okay.
Basically, meaning Tijuana is a giant uh, drug expendiary for San Diego, California specifically. This is one of the largest markets on the planet. Also, it's a giant border fence that is very secure. At least if you're handicapped, you can't jump that wall. But during my time active of 12 years, I think we found somewhere around 10 large drug tunnels, somewhere along those lines. And there's still many more of them active out there. So imagine you have access to basically a freeway across the border. The amount of money you can make with one of those is astronomical. And I think that specific control of this area, of this specific area, is what you're seeing as far as a phenomenon, what's being fought over.
Yeah.
Um, Historically, there was one cartel, and now the part of my career, I started off in 2004 when it really kicked off. Uh, then you add into it a corrupt government, trying to figure things out. So you would go into a certain part of the town, and the municipal police was on the side of one cartel,
Hmm.
and the state police was on the side of the other, and the federales were on the side of another one, maybe, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect storm. It's a perfect storm.